Lord Tremendous here. I got another battle report here for you. 2,000 point battle, and I went a little insane. I did, I admit it. Ogre Kingdoms, that is not a typo, versus Warriors of Chaos. I missed my fatty backs. I missed the Ogres. I played them a lot in 8th. I dabbled with them in 9th Age. I missed the Ogres. I know it's a legacy army. I know it's unsupported. I know it's not likely to see an upgrade for years, if ever. I want to see if I can make them work. I love my Tomb Kings. I really do. I enjoy them. I very well might go back to them. But I wanted to try to see if I can make Ogre Kingdoms work. I've been toying around with armies and building here and there, tinkering, tweaking, and I came up with one I wanted to try. I got excited about it, so I brought it. And I'll be honest, I enjoyed the hell out of it. So, yeah, welcome to the Ogre Kingdoms. Sit back, relax, and get ready to see the carnage. So, I have made a command decision. I missed my Ogres. I played them a lot in 8th edition, and I missed them. I know it's a legacy army. I know it's an unsupported army. I know I'm not looking to see any kind of updates anytime soon for these guys, but I miss my fatty back boys. I do. I miss them a lot, and so I've decided, screw it, I want to try playing them. I want to see if I can make them work. And I want to try so much so that I put together a bunch of lists, and I decided on this one for the first iteration. So yes, Ogre Kingdoms is what I'll be playing for the foreseeable future because I want to see if I can make them viable at all. So I brought back Tremendous's Blubber Boys. I have 980 points in characters, starting off with the Slaughter Master at 390 points. He's my general, level 4 wizard with battle magic. He's got the Butcher's Cauldron because honestly, a leadership check for a 5-up regen sounds great. I gave him the Halfling Cookbook for the extended range, the Blood Cleaver for the healing ability, and the Spangle Shard for a little bit of defense. Not sure how I feel about the Spangle Shard. The 4-up ward is awesome, but the first one I roll means that it's basically gone, and it's 35 points that can be destroyed in a single roll. But I figured I'd give him something. Then I have a Hunter for 209 points. He's an ambusher. He's got an additional hand weapon and a harpoon launcher. I gave him the Armor of Silver and Steel for the 3-up armor, and Cathayan Jet Pendant for the 6-up ward, just for a little. I had the points, and I figured why not. And then I gave him Giant Breaker because there's really no way to give him anything with AP other than, I give him the Biting Blade or something like that. Maybe the Sword of Might if I could find the points. But I figure with Giant Breaker, he's strength 6, he's going to wound most things on 2, and with 5 attacks, he's mainly going after archers, light infantry, maybe light cav if he gets lucky. Just stuff like that, mostly going to be shooting. He's very versatile, and I like the 360 charge arc, so I figure with Ambusher, he's pretty solid. And then I have a second Hunter. Notice the theme. Also, he's a scout. He's got additional hand weapon, harpoon launcher, armor of meteoric iron, and a talisman of protection because rerollable 5 saves on basically everything is pretty strong, and beast killer so that when he shoots at a monster, when he hits it, he should be able to wound it, and then it's on my opponent to block it. Seemed like a good kit. We'll see how that works out. And then I have a third Hunter because I really like Hunters, 184 points. He's a scout with an additional hand weapon and harpoon launcher because I think that's just the best kit. Yeah, I know they have the spear, but the harpoon launcher, in my opinion, for long range is better. And then I give Mastodon armor for a 4-up, 6-up, and Long Strider so that he can get where I need him to go as quick as possible. I have 504 points in core, starting with 3 Saber Tusks at 60 points with ambushers, and I didn't realize this at the time, but yeah, they can't ambush as a unit. They gotta ambush as 2 separate units and then join later. That was my fault. That'll be something I fix in a later list. Then I have 3 Ogre Bulls because, like all legacy armies, for some reason in Workshop's infinite wisdom, they decided to make mandatory choices mandatory. But it's still Ogre Bulls. I took 3 of them because I have to, with a Bellower and Iron Fist. I figure 5-up armor, additional attack, and a Musician would be about as good as they're going to get. And then I have the really scary unit of 7 Iron Guts with full command, the Bull standard, and I made them veterans. Wow, I'm excited to get that unit into combat. Last but not least, I have my special choices of an Iron Blaster and, of course, 4 Morinfang Cavalry because they're the scariest cavalry in the world, next to Pegasus Knights, with full command, Cannibal Totem, great weapons, and heavy armor. I'm excited to get these guys into combat as well. Here's my opponent's list, and he played a different Warriors of Chaos list this time. This was the Army of Infamy, the one with all the ambushers, basically the Marauder one. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I know. Mock me in the comment section. Go right ahead. For characters, he's got 491 points, and it consists of one character, a massive Demon Prince at 491 points. He's his general, level 4 wizard with demonology, has the Mark of Nurgle, as the picture depicts, wings, as well as the Ogre Blade, a brazen collar, 2 favors of the gods, and enchanting aura. In core, he's got a unit of 8 Marauder Horsemen with a musician, Mark of Corn, flails, throwing axes, and shields. A second unit of Marauder Horsemen with the exact same kit out. And then a unit of 20 Tribe Berserkers with full command, Mark of Chaos Undivided, ambushers with flails and throwing axes. Making up the bulk of his army, though, is his special choices at 968 points. He's got 20 Chaos Warriors. Props to him for taking infantry. They had the Mark of Nurgle, full command, banner of rage, shields, and halberds. Then he had a unit of 10 Marauder Tribe Huskarls, Carl, however you say it, 305 points, Mark Nurgle, full command, war banner. They were drilled, and they had shields, heavy armor, throwing axes, and flails. Last but not least was a unit of 6 Skin Wolves, which I think might be the coolest unit in the army, next to Chaos Knights, let's be honest. But I really like Skin Wolves. I want them to work. Here are my spells for this one. I've only got a Slaughtermaster, so I've got Toothcracker, Pillar of Flame, Arcane Urgency, and Oaken Shield. My opponent has Demonology. He got Demonic Vigor, Demonic Vessel, Demonic Familiars, and Steed of Shadows. A lot of demons in this Warriors list. And here's deployment, and it feels so under deployed. I'm not fully used to the tiny army yet. So on the left flank there, I have 2 of my hunters with scouts. They moved up a little bit. They're going to deal with the Skin Wolves, I hope. I've got the Iron Guts in the woods because I'm kind of stupid. I don't know how to play Ogre Kingdoms in this variation. It's been years since I've touched anything Ogre related, so I'm guessing. I do have my Iron Guts with my Slaughtermaster in the woods. The idea is I'm faced off against a unit of infantry, maybe his Huskarls. Okay, whatever comes towards me, I gotta try it out. I've got my Mournfang just next to the woods right there. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get maybe Toothcracker off on them should they get in the combat or about to get in the combat. I've got my Iron Blast right next to them, and I threw my Ogres way over to the right because I wasn't sure if my opponent had scouts or not. Turns out he didn't. He had all ambushers, so I was okay there. I've got a unit. I've got a unit of saber tusks with ambushers and a hunter. Like I said during the army list presentation, I didn't realize they couldn't ambush as a unit. They had to come in separately, so that sucks. I will change that next time I play these guys, but it's all about learning, and that's where my deployment thought process was. For my opponent on our left, his right flank, he's got his unit of Skin Wolves, his Huskarls, his I don't know, some sort of infantry, maybe the Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warriors, that's what they are. And then behind the woods is his Demon Prince because he does not want to get cannoned and huntered off the table. And I mean, this is a great way to start off my Ogre Kingdom's legacy. No, I'm just really excited to play the big guys again. All right. Different army, but same results. I do not get to go first. I lose the roll. My opponent gets to go first, and he does what any Warriors of Chaos player would do. He comes forward. With the exception of his Demon Prince, he did get Steed of Shadows off on his Chaos Warriors, which excited the hell out of me. I was like, yeah, bring him closer. That'd be great. But he realized right away that was a terrible idea. So they moved up just normally. The Huskarls moved along with them, and the Skin Wolves came up a little bit. The Demon Prince stayed behind the woods because he's not ready to be cannoned out into oblivion, and that's really it. Nothing else happens in the shooting phase, and obviously there's no combat. So Here's bottom one after movement. And same thing, not a ton happens. I was afraid of the Huskar. Again, I don't know what my army's capable of. I don't know what they're going to be good for. I don't know what they're going to be bad for. I just a lot of confusion. So I was able to get the cauldron off. The Slaughtermaster has a cauldron, so they got a 5-up regen. I got Oaken Shield off, and then I stayed still. I should have moved forward. I should have let the Huskarls come at me. I didn't. I don't know why. I made a mistake. The hunters moved back onto the hill because I realized now that they have 36-inch range. There was no reason to scout them that close to the skinwalkers. So now I've got to take -2, -3 for long range to shoot at them. That's my fault. Like, I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. Scream at your keyboard, flame me in the comment section. Let me get it out of the way. You're right. Okay, you're right. But yeah, that's growing pains. I should be better. I'm not. The Mornfang come up to put the warriors into charge range. Again, I hesitated moving them towards the Huskarls because I didn't want to be charged. I think I've got too much Tomb King mentality in my head still. And then my chariot, my Iron Blaster, he just moves up his 6 inches so he can fire his cannon. The only other thing that happens is my ogres move around to try to deal with the incoming ambushers, and that's really it for movement. In the shooting phase, I tried to angle the cannon shot so that it would bounce, or so that it would hit the warriors and bounce through into the Huskarls. It ended up shooting and bouncing into the Huskarls, completely bypassing the warriors, and it passes through them, hitting and killing 3 of them, no problem. It was awesome. Also, as you can see, my Slaughtermaster was able to get the Pillar of Flame off, which was also awesome. That was enough for a panic check, which caused them to panic, and they were still about 50%, so it was just fall back in good order. But it was fall back in good order, kind of put them out of position, and that was kind of huge. First shot with the cannon in the old world history for me, anyway, was a success, a great success. Nothing happens in my phase after that, so here's top of 2 after movement, and there's significantly more warriors on the table. His berserkers do not make it on the table yet, but both units of his marauder ambushers come in. One on the left flank there near the hunters, one on the right flank near the bulls, which is fine. The bulls will deal with it as they see fit, and hopefully the hunters can take care of the rest. We'll see what happens. For movement, the Huskarls stay out of position right where they are. The Skinwalkers move up. The Warriors reform, spread out real deep, and get ready for the potential charge. And you're out of your mind to think I'm not going to. And then his Demon Prince does something I didn't expect. He moves forward really, really far. He's got like +2 attacks right now because of the Gaze of the Gods or whatever. He's rolled a +1 attack each time, which is insane. So he's got like 7 attacks and the Ogre Blade. He's like the worst possible scenario for me to run into. But yeah, and he runs right up. He's an inch away from my Iron Blaster and everything, so he's set. I'm screwed. There's really nothing I can do here. Yeah, that's it for his movement though. I am not in a good way. In the shooting phase, his Marauder Horsemen throw, I believe they have throwing axes at my hunter on the hill and are able to slip a wound through on him, which pisses him off greatly. That brings us to bottom of 2. Nothing else happens during his turn, and I do some movings. The hunter that got hurt by the Marauder Horseman charges them. They do stand and shoot, but they fail to hurt him. The other hunter, I think he tried to charge him as well and failed. That's why he's at that horrible angle. So not my greatest moment, but it is what it is. The bulls on the right flank turn to face the other Marauder Horsemen. I know they're going to charge. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm curious to see how they do. My Mornfang Cavalry, I get Toothcracker off on them, and then I charge his Warriors of Chaos, and I miss them by an inch. An inch. Oh my God, my stomach fell. Like, it was awful. Just awful. So the chariot, the Iron Blaster, so I move him in such a way that he can go forward, and then since he's a heavy chariot, he can turn like a little bit so that he can face the Demon Prince, my hope is to get into a position where I can fire the cannonball at the Demon Prince and kill him before he can kill me, or at least put some wounds on him so my opponent is less eager to charge him into combat. And then my Iron Guts moved in the woods. Instead of moving out of the woods, I just spun him in place to face where the Demon Prince was because I'm dumb. I should have just moved him out, but hindsight's 2020 and I'm going to make mistakes. Neither my dogs or my hunter came in yet, so that is it for movement. At the beginning of the turn, I did move my Pillar of Flame, and it passed through the Warriors of Chaos, killing 3 of them. I like the Pillar of Flame. Being able to target it myself was really, really cool. Nothing else happens in the magic phase. I failed to get Arcane Urgency off. I barely cast it and got it to go, or for it to go off, and my opponent rolled like an 11 to stop it, or something ridiculous before his +4. So my plan didn't work. My cannon couldn't fire. It was all bad decisions. And so we go into combat where I might be able to make some good decisions, and I do. I end up killing 4 of the Marauder Horsemen, leaving 4 left. They're not able to do anything back. I win by 3 because I believe they had a banner. They break. They fled off the table. I think it was just fall back in good order, if I'm being honest. And I did try to restrain, but the hunter was like, oh no, prey doesn't get away from me, and he pursued off the table. I wanted to sit there and take the attack, or take the charge from the skin wolves, but it wasn't in the card. So the clumsy hunter in the back there that didn't make his charge into the Marauder Horsemen, he's probably going to have to eat some puppies in a minute. After that successful combat, we go over here to top of 3, where there's going to be some more successful combat. As you can see, his Warriors of Chaos and his Demon Prince charge into my Mournfang. And I'm not thrilled about this, obviously, but I'm not super upset about it either. The Mournfang failed a critical charge. My opponent outplayed me with the movement of his Demon Prince. And I tried to stop it. I tried to do something about it, and I just couldn't. He was able to charge and get in with both. He got Demonic Vessel, I believe, off on his Demon Prince. So now I get to see just how tough the Mournfang really are. His Skin Wolves on the left flank there made it into the Hunter, no problem. He did stand and shoot, and that's why I believe that the Skin Wolves have a wound on them. He used his spear, so I thought I was super clever there. The bulls on the right side there take the Marauder Horsemen head on. And yeah, that's really it. His Berserkers, I don't believe, come in yet. And his Huskarls, they are missing one. I'll show you why in a second. And they just kind of move to try to get back into position. That is it for movement, but it was a good one. I did move my Pillar of Flame at the beginning of the turn once again, and it passed through the Huskarls. Only killed 1 this time, but I'll take it. It's still really neat to have the Magical Vortex running around like this. We go into combat and it goes absolutely horrendous for me anyway. I take 7 wounds, 3, 6, 7, 8 wounds from the Marauder Horseman, and in return, the 1 remaining bull is able to do a single wound back. He did 8 wounds and he had a banner. I did a wound. He wins by 8, which I'm lucky he just didn't obliterate the unit outright. Needless to say, though, I needed snakes and I didn't roll it. They break, they flee, they get run down. Is what it is. They died horribly, but at least they killed 1 Marauder Horseman. Yay! In this combat over here, this hunter was a champion. He did 4 wounds. Well, he did 3, and then my opponent regened 1 for a total of 4 combat res. In return, my opponent did roll like crap for them. He absolutely did. But the hunter was able to save the rest of them. And he was doing the AP1 Armor Bane 2 attacks. He ended up getting 1 through, so 4-1. I won by 3. I was as stunned as you are. Fortunately for my opponent, though, all that low rolling really paid off, and he made his break check and just gave ground. I figured, why not? I'll pursue, and he did. He went back in. It was so much fun the first time. Why wouldn't he go back in? We go into combat over here, and these poor guys get slaughtered in a way that should be illegal, actually. Pretty sure felonies were committed here. The Crusher accepts the challenge from the Demon Prince and gets just obliterated. I think he ended up doing 8 wounds total to him, with overkill and everything like that. And then the Warriors of Chaos just mulch the rest of them. I've got 1 guy left with 1 wound, and of course I botched my rolls. I think I killed 1 Warrior Chaos. It was so bad. I don't even know how I got 5 combat res. I actually was trying to figure that out before I started narrating, and doesn't matter. We'll say I got 5. I still lost combat by 13. So the Warriors end up standing. They don't overrun because they didn't want the easy flank for my Iron Guts there. But the Demon Prince pursued, and because of the direction of the flight of the remaining Mornfang and stuff, he did jump through the Iron Blaster, who passed his panic check. But Demon Prince was able to catch him, no problem. He kind of got hung up on the terrain there, and yeah, sucked. But that's what they get for failing a charge. I am a true Ogre player. I have zero sympathy for failure. Here's top of 3 after movement, and I mean, why not? I send my chariot into the Chaos Warriors because he's dead anyway. And that's really it. The hunter comes onto the table, and I move him over there on the right flank to try to deal with the Marauder Horsemen. I was hoping that they would have to charge me. We'll see how that goes. They are in skirmish formation. We're just being lazy. That's why they're lined up like that, but they are in skirmish. The other hunter on the left flank comes on, and he just moves up towards the what's it called? Towards the Skin Wolves. He's going to take a pot shot at the Huskarl. Spoilers, he misses. And yeah, that's really it. The Iron Guts did try to charge the Warriors and failed because I was in the woods because I'm stupid. Yeah, that's it for my movement. That brings us into combat, and the Iron Blaster does insanely well. Impact hits, combat, and just having a high toughness. I ended up with 6 combat res. He ended up with 3. I won by 3. I was super proud of this thing. Unfortunately, my opponent nailed his leadership check and only ended up giving ground. So yeah, not great. But I pursued because why not? And I know where the Demon Prince is going. I'm not stupid. Combat over here does not go well. I end up taking a wound. I do no wounds back. I lose by 1. But again, all that low rolling really worked out because I actually made my break check and just end up falling back 2 inches. He does restrain. He doesn't come after me. And I think it's just so he can charge for the improved initiative and stuff like that during his turn. And with that, here's top of 4. So yeah, his Demon Prince goes into the flank of the Iron Blaster. We all knew it was going to happen, and if you didn't, well, then you weren't paying attention, and I feel bad for you. His Skin Wolves on the left flank go back into the Hunter on the hill just to get the extra initiative, I think. The Huskarls reform and come around to the flank of the Iron Guts, which is fine, and his Berserkers show up on the back edge of my board, move up a little bit, and reform so that they're 57,000 people wide. It's going to get ugly quick. Oh, yeah, and the Marauder Horsemen that murdered my bulls, they saw the Hunter, said, hey, that looks like a bull too, and charged into him. That should be interesting. So yeah, that's it for movement. I mean, it's Warriors versus Ogres. There's not going to be a lot of shooting or magic, so we go right into combat, because there isn't any, or at least nothing that was worth reporting about. And we start with the Horseman into my Hunter on the right flank there. He ends up getting 2 of his guys killed, and I think he's got a banner, so he has 1. So I got 2, he's got 1. I win by 1. And they actually break. I did pursue, but he doesn't have Swift Stride because he doesn't have any Saber guys around him, Saber Tusk guys. So he does get away, but yeah, we're giving chase. And damn, the Hunters are really kicking some ass this game. Combat with the Skin Wolves goes quite well for me. He flubs spectacularly. The Dice Gods took pity on me, I guess. In return, I was able to get 2 wounds onto him. 1 got through, 1 was regen. I have 2, he has none. I should have had 3. I didn't realize I had high ground until literally just now. But 2-0, still pretty good. And it had the results I needed. He actually did flee, and he got away because he's faster than me. But yeah, the Hunter pursued, and yeah, it's my turn next. We're going after him. Oh, we're going after him. Bad doggies. Bad. Combat over here, this is bad. I think his Demon Prince is up to like 8 attacks now. He keeps rolling 5s on the stupid chart. So yeah, he's got like 8 attacks, and he obliterates my Iron Blast before it can do anything, which was exactly what was supposed to happen. So, is what it is. His Demon Prince ended up just kind of staying still. The Chaos Warriors did overrun, as you can see, and stop in front of him. But when they did, they reformed like that, and now they're just a little bit easier to contain? I don't know. We go over here to bottom of 4, and my Hunter on the right, our right, charged the Huskarls, who fled through the Iron Guts, took perils, and they're down to 3. I think 3 died, which is hilarious. The Iron Guts did try to charge the Warriors and failed. Once again, I'm in the trees. I even had Toothcracker off. It was going to be awesome. And the hunters, the one redirected into the skin wolves, they both ended up charging after them. Skin wolves did not flee very far, and as you can see, were myrtleized for my trouble. And yeah, that was really it. My hunter on the right flank did charge the Marauder Horsemen. They continued to flee and they got away. Yeah, that's really it. Nothing else happens in my turn. And with that, here's top of turn 5, and it's honestly more of the same. His warriors just kind of reformed to look at me. His berserkers tried to charge but failed. Yeah, it's kind of like that. His Huskarl did rally and turned around and looked at me. That was really about it. And the Marauders failed to rally, I believe, and continued to flee towards the board edge. That's pretty much it. I believe he got Demonic Vessel off on his Demon Prince, but he didn't charge. Here's bottom of 5 after movement, and yeah, I can't really do anything. The Iron Guts tried to charge the Warriors and failed again because of the damn woods. The Hunters just kind of move around to get in a range to shoot at some stuff. My Hunter on the right flank, he's too far to charge anything, and he's not going to go into that Demon Prince because he wants to live. My Sabertooth pack guys, my ambushers finally come on the table because it's turn 5, and I put them near the Huskarls, and that's it. It's it for movement. Every hunter that could shoot at his Demon Prince did, and they either missed or he made his saves. However, the hunter in the back here who couldn't see the Demon Prince shot at the warriors and actually killed one, which is great. Oh, so tacky, but I love it. We go to top of 6, and my opponent makes his charge, no problem. The Warriors and the Demon Prince slam into the Iron Guts, who failed multiple charges. In fact, that was all they had was failed charges this game. It's my fault. I should never have put them in the woods. I thought with movement 6, they'd be movement 5. I know I'm taking the lower of the 2, but it should be feasible. No, it wasn't feasible. It was stupid, and I never should have done it. He gets Demonic Vessel off on one of them, gets Demonic Vigor off on the other, so they're all pumped up. I do have a 5-up regen for what it's worth, but yeah, this is going to go really bad. Other than that, the Berserkers just redress their ranks, the Huskarls move into the woods, and that's really it for movement. I believe his Marauders do rally, and they just stay right where they're at. So yeah, things aren't looking great. We go into combat, and the Iron Guts do really, really well. Considering what they were up against, considering how buff they are, considering that they got charged and everything, I'm super proud of the Iron Guts. They ended up, my opponent ended up getting a total of 9 combat res, and I got 6, because as you can see, my Iron Guts decimated the Warriors. I was quite pleased with them. Yeah, the Demon Prince just ate lunch. He decimated my Gut Lord, and yeah, that's going to happen. But the Warriors didn't do great, and the what's it called? The Iron Guts, I mean, I'm quite pleased. I did lose by 3, though, so that kind of sucks. But still, I thought this was going to be a lot worse. I do end up falling back in good order, which bounces me through the Huskarls, which isn't the biggest deal in the world, to be perfectly honest. I do take another wound from Perils because of the guys who bounced through them. I actually rolled really well for that, losing another Iron Gut. But all in all, we rally, we turn to face, and we're ready for the bottom of 6. And as if summoned, here it is, bottom of turn 6 after movement. And there has been some. My Iron Guts did charge his Huskarls, and he thought about fleeing, and then he said, if I do, you're just going to charge into my warriors or something like that, and that would be really, really bad, so we'll stand. I'm like, okay. So he did. He stood. I made the charge. Life is happy. The hunters move around. I'm trying to shoot at his Demon Prince because I think it'd be hilarious if I actually killed him. The Sabertusk guys, they've got no target, so they just stand there and they're just thrilled to be alive. And that's it for movement. Nothing else to do in the shooting phase because I miss. The hunters miss, don't wound, whatever you want to call it. They don't do anything, which is unfortunate, but it was kind of hilarious. So we go into combat, and yeah, the Iron Guts are able to obliterate the Huskarls, which made me feel really good, and nothing around cared about that whatsoever. And just because I'm a petty bastard, I decide to overrun, and I do hit the Warriors and slam into them like so, which I thought was hilarious. Obviously, nothing's going to happen, but ha! That'll teach them. And there it is. There's the end of the game. And it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be in the end. I figured I had lost this one. It was just brutal. Losing the Mornfang, losing the cannon, just losing. That really hurt my feelings. But in the end, he ended up getting 681 points out of me, and I ended up getting 844 points out of him. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, how? His Huskarls, that unit of 10, was 325 points. The Skin Wolves were 270 points, and the Marauder Horsemen were 149 points. And they all had, well, the Skin Wolves didn't, but two of them, the Marauders, both those units had banners, which helps a lot. He got my Ogre Bulls, which were 111 points, my Iron Blaster, which was 185, and my Mornfang Cav, which were 335, and they had a banner for a total of 681. I actually pulled off a slight victory on this one. 844, 681. I was shocked. But yeah, not a bad test run for the Ogres. Tons of stuff I want to change. I made a ton of errors, a ridiculous amount of errors. But you know what? I had a friggin' blast. And I'm excited to get into the recap. I'm excited to be playing my Ogres again. The Blubber Boys are back, and I couldn't be happier. So yeah, there it is. Officially, I am undefeated with Ogres as of this game. I've never lost with them ever in the old world. Just throwing it out there. We are undefeated Ogres in the world. Probably the only person in the world that would be willing to say something like that. Oh, but my Mornfang. They failed that charge by an inch. Thus, they failed me. And they got what they deserved. I do like them. I am going to keep them in the list. They're good. I know it was just a unfortunate roll, but it could have been awesome. One day it will be awesome, and I'm looking forward to that. It was still unacceptable. Absolutely. The Iron Guts, on the other hand, were amazing in combat, and I wish I had got them into close combat sooner, but unfortunately, I placed them terribly. I didn't do anything to get them out of that situation, and that's just inexperience with the Ogres. I will get better because, honestly, the bar is so low, that's really the only direction I can go. The Hunters were really confusing to me. Like, they were really good in combat and pretty terrible in shooting. Like, the Ponderous, I didn't realize just how much that was going to bother me because I'm kind of used to hitting on 5s. They weren't good at all in shooting, but really good in combat. So I'm gonna have to rethink the Hunters. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. The outplay by my opponent with his Demon Prince was amazing. Like, that blew my mind when he threw him forward 20 inches like that and was like, here I am. I was like, oh my god, I have no answer. I can't back up my shooting. I can't do anything. Maybe I could have I can't remember what it's called, scatter fired with the cannon or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't even know if that one can do that. But my plan on how to deal with it did not work at all. So it is what it is. It feels really good to be playing the Ogres again. I've got a long way to go. I've got a lot to learn. I'm going to lose a lot of games. I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. And I am eager to get to it because these guys are just so much fun. And yeah, it's probably my favorite army in all of Warhammer. So really, really glad that I decided to start playing again. So yeah, this is still going to be to tie the bones because Ogres are mercenaries, and King Bubba Hotep is not shy about hiring mercenaries, and he's been so enriched by the success of his favorite high priest that he bought a whole Ogre tribe and sent them out to loot, plunder, kill, and steal. And the deal is, the Ogres keep the meat and they send him the bones, and trust me, the Ogres agreed. So to start that off, the Warriors of Chaos, I didn't get any characters. The Demon Prince eluded me. He was just kicking the crap out of me everywhere he went. In core, there were no Warhounds, or I'd have murdered those puppies, no problem. But I did get 11 of his Marauder Horsemen. Yes, some of them got away, but 11 still isn't bad. There's a lot of meat on horses, and the Marauders were kind of beefy. I got 13 of his Chaos Warriors, which is the crunchy bits. Those are the good ones. Kind of like the burnt fries or the real crispy fries. You know what I'm talking about. There were no Knights, Forsaken, or Chariots, so of course I couldn't add to that list, but the numbers were still pretty good. In Special, there was no Dragon Ogres because my opponent apparently doesn't love himself. I don't know what the problem is here. But there were some Marauder Tribe Huskarls, which I never actually faced before, and I murdered all of them. So adding 10 of those guys to the pyre felt really, really good. The Skin Wolves, never faced those before either, at least not since I've been doing this, and we're able to kill all of them. We ran them down with the Hunters, and they are currently carpets and, well, meat for the pot, which is delicious. And of course, there was nothing in rare, so those numbers didn't go up. But all in all, I'm really proud of the numbers, and I think King Hotep will be pleased. Yes, and now to gloat about all the dead Bretonnians and High Elves that I've killed over the games. I love those numbers. My Wood Elf numbers are still very impressive, probably because I run into them the most often, but I'm still very happy with it. And the unworthy Tomb Kings that were sent as a tithe are still there. My numbers in the Chaos Dwarves are still pretty decent as well. Well, my Orcs and Goblins numbers could really go up, but I don't have an Orc and Goblin opponent. If you'd like to fix that, reach out. And though I've only seen the Dark Elves once, they were none on the table, even though they looked alike. And all these numbers stay the same, but these are the ones I'm the most proud of. But that's going to do it for this one. Another battle report in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But as always, thanks!